mitigating measures for cost overrun in the construction industry or South African construction industry. The construction industry is considered as a major contributor to South Africa economy because it plays a significant role in overall GDP of South Africa. And then also it is used by government to stimulate development and help in getting financial resources in terms of recession period and other period where the economy is not doing well. Construction industry can be used to boost the economy. According to CIDB, construction industry account for 10% of the global economy. Hence, it is important that the deliverables in the construction industry are finished within time, cost, and the quality which is anticipated. However, we can see that the industry is faced with issues such as low quality of work, low profitability, cost overrun, time overrun, and then waste, which are currently bedeviled with construction industry. The research, therefore, try to gain insight into how we can manage construction costs effectively in South African context. So the three objectives for the research are to examine the determinant of cost overrun in terms of South Africa construction industry and to examine the effect of cost overrun in South African construction industry and try to check the cost management method that we can use to minimize cost overrun in South Africa construction industry. In terms of causes of cost overrun, many research had been done to determine or identify the contributing factors to cost overrun. Baloyi and Becker in 2011 identified factors such as client late contract award, poor complexity of projects, project complexity, increment in labor costs, and some other things such as shortage of skills in terms of labor, and then inaccurate material estimate. These are some of the factors that contribute to cost overrun in construction industry, according to Baloyi and Becker. However, research has also been done to check the effects of cost overrun in the construction industry. Therefore, Kabisi in 2013 identified the effects of cost overrun in the construction industry as time overrun. Also, it also brings about mediation where parties dispute as a result of the overrun that they have experienced in their projects. Also, it also caused problems such as deferring the benefit of the construction project to the customer, as the customer has to delay and look for extra funds as a result of the cost overrun. Also make contractual workers worry about their future because at times the project has to become standstill in order to look for other resources to complete the project. And it may even cause some bankruptcy in some of organizations. Some contractors have declared bankrupt as a result of losses that they incur in the project they executed. So cost overrun has significant effects in our construction industry and the stakeholders involved in the construction industry. Then cost management method, according to Lilly in 2016, tried to come up with some method that we can use to mitigate cost overrun in construction industry, and therefore suggested some measures such as making reasonable construction period. That is, instead of using short period for the construction period, we should rather make it reasonable so that the construction output can be achieved within the course. Allocating human resources scientifically and controlling the use of materials that we make use of in the construction industry. Then Nkubani in 2012 also stated that if we do define our project scope clearly, then it is going to reduce cost overrun in construction industry, and then use front-end engineering and design aspect that will help us also to reduce cost overrun. And then we must also use what we call capital cost estimation and project cost estimation for control that will be implemented to guide us in our basic engineering process. So these measures are some of the measures proposed by some of the researchers as a way of mitigating cost overrun in construction industry. In terms of the methodology we use for this study, we use quantitative, and then data was collected through structure survey questionnaire made up of both open and closed-ended questions. And then we distributed the questionnaire via emails. Populations that we distributed the questionnaire to are construction professionals. We use random sampling. We sent 130 questionnaire, of which 74 were received back. And we use SPSS and content analysis to analyze the data that we receive. In terms of cost overrun, we realized that the main cause of cost overrun in construction industry in South Africa is attributed to changes in the scope of work, where clients and other stakeholders will make numerous changes to the project scope, thereby attracting additional costs to the project. Decision making by the project team was also identified as a high risk contributory to cost overrun in South Africa construction industry, as well as lack of project planning. People don't plan the project, so by the time project starts, so many things will come up and which will contribute to additional costs to the project. So numerous causes was identified as contributory factors. Another one is made up of decision making by the client and unskilled labor that we also battle with in South Africa construction industry. An increment of material costs was also a significant contributory to cost overrun in South Africa construction industry. Then we try to see how it affects the stakeholders in the construction industry, how cost overrun affect the stakeholders. So the main one that we identify was disputes in terms of claims. Contractor and the client will be fighting over disputes as a result of the cost overrun. Extension of time has also become a major issue as a result of cost overrun. So people extend the project duration to a significant time. Reduced profit to the contractors was also identified, and at times it may even lead to project abandonment, where the project will stop totally and taxpayers' money being wasted on that project, and bad public relation in terms of the contractor doing the work as well as the client. Therefore, how can we mitigate, or what method can we use to mitigate cost overrun in South Africa construction industry? The main method that we can adapt is effective and efficient planning. Before the project starts, we have to make sure that the planning is done effectively and efficiently in order to come up with reasonable contract period for the contractor to execute the project. Accurate estimate. If we spend time in doing our estimate well and take all the factors into consideration before we submit our tender amount, then it will minimize the way we experience cost overrun in our construction industry. Tracking the status of the project was also a method that we can use. Inspection of works. We should try as much as possible to visit the site to see the progress of work in order to identify factors that may cause problem in terms of cost to the project. And this may also help us to avert those incidents. We should communicate to stakeholders involved in the project before decisions are taken. Proper method of construction should also be used if we want to minimize the cost overrun in our construction industry. And then evaluation of work that has been completed is also a major method that we can adapt to minimize cost overrun in our construction industry. It is therefore concluded that in order to minimize the cost overrun in our South Africa construction industry, the method that we can adapt are effective and efficient planning, accurate estimate, tracking the status of the project, and the use of proper scheduling tool. We therefore recommend that construction professionals should do proper planning and estimating. They should manage and control the costs in construction projects. And then project teams should also implement effective planning reporting system to increase the likelihood of project success and be also equipped with the courses of cost overrun at all times during the project implementation. If they are aware of things that will contribute to cost overrun, then I think they will be able to institute some measures to avert those incidents. So the limitation is that construction professionals operating from free states of South Africa were the only one consulted for the survey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. If you have any, okay. That's a very old photograph. Okay, is that the end of it? Thank you very much. The next presentation will be by Asocsa Sogaka. I don't know if the P is supposed to be Sogaka. Julius Paponunda and Eric Kwama Sempi. Can you please indicate who will be doing this presentation?
It's Asocsa Sogaka.
Okay, great. The name of the presentation is, title of the presentation is Effective Quality Management Strategies for Enhancing the Success Rate of Indigenous Construction SMEs in Construction Project Delivery. You have 15 minutes to present and then 5 minutes for questions. Please go ahead.
Can you see my screen? Good afternoon, everyone. I am Asocsa Sogaka. I'm from Walter Sisulu University. I've combined this paper together with Dr. Simpe from CPUT, together with Dr. Julius Papawunda. And our topic is on effective quality management strategies for enhancing success rate of indigenous construction SMEs in construction project delivery. SMEs are the firms that are based on turnover and a number of workers employed within the firms. And these SMEs contribute significantly to the economy of the country by creating more job opportunities within the industry. Nonetheless, although they contribute significant to the economy, but the primary objectives of each client lies on a high quality project. So that must not be forgotten, that the quality of the project is the priority in the client perspective. Quality management is also achieved through various professionals, which all of the professionals contribute toward the success of the construction project in terms of quality, such as the client, the SME, the contractor, and the design team. They all come together in order to ensure that the project goals are met. However, SMEs are still confronted with numerous challenges with regard to the quality management on projects, such as inexperienced manpower or in the management team that is working within the SMEs, inadequate material use on site, lack of project knowledge. As we all know that in our industry, it is easy to access the industry and everyone can register a company, and also ignorance of project specification. Quality management tool is a strategic tool for improving project performance through, it could be such as minimizing the waste on a construction site or increasing the production in the construction site, as there will be no rework in the project. To date, the quality management is the center of the construction project delivery. Hence, this paper seeks to propose effective quality management practices that could be adopted by construction SMEs. The aim and objective of the study, the aim of the study is to develop effective quality management practices to enhance SMEs project delivery. And the objective of the study is to identify the most significant quality management practices that could be adopted by construction SMEs in order to enhance a sustainable success rate at the project level, and also to determine the most suitable classification of quality management practices that could be adopted by construction SMEs. The methodology adopted in the study comprises both quantitative and qualitative data approach, and the sample focus of the study is based on SMEs which are registered under CIDB grade 1 to 4 within the Eastern Cape province. It should be noted that the data collected was based on the SMEs that are on a project in order to determine those most significant quality management practices that could be adopted by construction SMEs. The population of the study comprises of construction management team in a cycle of SMEs, such as construction managers, quantity surveyors, site agent, company directors, and also site technicians within the cycle of those SMEs. A purposive sampling technique was adopted in choosing the sample size. Table 1 presents the data collection that was used, the data collection tool that was used. It should be noted that a cluster sample was adopted and that was adopted in collection of the data from 4 metropoles within the Eastern Cape province. And those firms were clustered into groups of 32 in each of the metropole, which comes up to 128 firms which were participating in the study. Closed-ended questionnaires were formulated to obtain the data from the participants. And about 59 of those questionnaires sent were retrieved and answered successfully, which represent 46% of the responsive rate. And it should be noted that the study focused on the quality that was retrieved from the respondents. Data analysis, SPSS, was adopted in analyzing the data using the descriptive analysis statistics, which summarizes and reduces the large numbers. Dimension reduction technique was also adopted in order to extract the variables in the factor analysis that was adopted. For quantitative data, a semi-structured interview was conducted with the respondents that participated in the initial quantitative data, and the content analysis was adopted in analyzing that. A Cronbach-Afra coefficient was also used in order to measure the items associated with Likert scale questions. Figure 1 presents CIDB grade of the firms that participated in the study. About 36% of the firms were on grade 3, and about 32% of those firms were on grade 4, which indicate that all those firms that most participated in the study were the firms that has completed the projects before and gave a success information to the study, which indicate those modalities or strategies that could be adopted by SMEs. With regard to the relevant experience of the participants, it should be noted on figure 2 here that about 37% of the respondents has 1 to 5 years, as indicated in the literature that SMEs lacks in terms of experience within the firms, and about 26% were having experience between 6 to 10 years, and 25% were 11 to 15 years in terms of the experience. Educational qualification. Figure 3 indicate that SMEs employs most of the graduate, as about 47.5% of the respondents has a national diploma in qualifications, and 25.4% has the bachelor degree in the construction industry. Regarding the role of the respondents, it should be noted here that in this figure that about 37.3% of the respondents were site agents, which are the people that are busy on a construction site, and 20% and 32% were construction managers, and 32% were other qualifications, such one other role in the company, such as being a site technician. So 63% were males and 37% were females, which indicate that both genders in the study were participating. Regarding effective quality management strategies adopted by construction SMEs in a construction project delivery, it should be noted that clear working drawings supplied by the design team or the architect was the most significant quality management strategy that is adopted by construction SMEs, with a mean value average of 4.29. The second most recognized quality management practices adopted by construction SMEs was the time-to-time request for quality inspection during the construction project delivery. Also, the implementation of total quality management, which including everyone involved on a project, so is involved in terms of planning the quality management. Also, benchmarking for quality management from the drawings or the previous projects. It should be noted that all these quality management practices, in average, there were 4.05. which is all these quality management were considered by construction SMEs. With regard to factor analysis, to validate the data collected from the quantitative analysis, factor analysis was adopted in order to validate that data. And principal component analysis was used to extract those variables. In summary of the factor analysis, it was noted that the first 3 components was component 1, effective implementation of total quality management, which is in line with table 2 as indicated there, that SMEs adopts total quality management, quality documentation and quality inspection of a project, competency of management regarding quality considerations on project. 3 interviews were conducted, and those interviews were in line with that ones of quantitative data. The table 2 also present the clear working drawings supplied by the designing team was the most significant modality adopted by construction SMEs. This findings align with that one of Lam, who state that drawings provide graphic information specification and also the workmanship that is to be adopted on a construction project. Table 2 also reveals periodic requests for quality inspection as the most significant quality management strategy. This finding is supported by CUNAT, who state that consistent monitoring to ensure that project meet the client's requirements. Therefore, during the construction project, there should be a consistent monitoring of the quality in a construction project. And also these findings align with that one of Wang, who suggests that quality inspection should be done, it should be an integral part of daily work. Therefore, every day as an SME, there should be always a quality inspection that could be done by the management who's working on a project without involving also, for instance, the design team or the client every day, to always ensure that the management team on project familiarize themselves with the quality of the work that is happening on site. Effective implementation of total quality management was also the significant modality adopted by SME. This finding corroborated by Shane and the depends, who revealed that implementation of total quality management is comprehensive. By saying comprehensive, it involves planning and including everyone involved within the project in order to ensure that every person involved on that project understands the quality that is required on a project. It should be noted that the findings from the qualitative data that confirm the quantitative data include benchmarking for quality management and complying with NHBRC requirements, clear construction drawings and monitoring subcontractors that are busy on a project, which is done on a daily basis by the SMEs in order to ensure that it meets the quality. The factor analysis revealed that adoption of effective implementation of total quality management to achieve project quality requirements, and other factors such as quality documentation, quality inspection, and competence of management team within the SME firms. In conclusion, the evaluation of quality management practices adopted by construction SMEs in the literature was reviewed, and both quantitative and qualitative method was adopted in the study. With regard to quantitative findings, it is clear that a clear working drawings as supplied by the design team is the most significant tool that could be adopted by construction SMEs in order to enhance a sustainable success rate on project level. Periodic requests for quality inspection is also considered by construction SMEs, and also the effective implementation of total quality management is also considered by construction SMEs. The results from the qualitative data interviews revealed that a significance of SMEs monitoring subcontractor work for quality compliance, effective communication between the contractor and the design team, and benchmarking for quality. That communication between the SMEs and the design team leads to SMEs being able to understand the drawings, to monitor the quality, because with that they can be able to contact the design team when they are not certain with any drawings or any specification given in the project. In summary, the findings that indicates that periodic requests for quality inspection was the technique adopted by construction SMEs on project level. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was so easy to read it while you were speaking that I really think that everybody appreciated the way that you set out your presentation. Are there any questions? Because you know you're supposed to type the questions on chat. There's a check here. Nothing. Nothing. Can you close your slideshow, please?
Okay, I'm busy on it. Okay. Sorry for the delay.
Go down to file, go down to close. Thank you. Okay, lovely picture of a baby. Thank you. Okay, can you now mute your mic as well, please?
Okay, I'm on it now.
Okay, I hope it's okay. Have you muted your mic?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker or presenter is on key quality influential variables of design documentation in the construction sector by Peter Agabox. Okay, right, by Peter. Okay, Peter, if you can introduce yourself, then I won't make a fool of myself trying to pronounce your name. Okay, could you carry on, please?
We can go to the next. And then we can maybe come back to start.
Where is Peter?
Can you see my screen?
Okay. Is Peter
Can you see my
around?
screen?
No,
Yeah,
I
can you see
can
my
see
screen?
that little baby. Looks like a baby girl.
Can you see my screen?
If your screen is a baby girl, I can see it. Otherwise, I can't see it.
No. It's a slide. I have, wow.
Okay. Okay,
I'll share
you
my screen.
from Wits University, Peter?
Correct.
If you would pronounce your
Yes.
surname for all of us, please.
Yes, my name is Peter Agbahode.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter.
Agbahode. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and you're from Wits University, and welcome.
Yes, exactly.
And
thank you.
your topic I've given already, key quality
Good.
influential variables of design documentation in the construction sector. You may go ahead.
Yes, that's it.
You have 15 minutes.
Right,
Nobody's used their 15 minutes yet. So if you want to use of the more of it, that you may go ahead, please. Please remember to run a slideshow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Like I said, my name is Peter Agbahode, and co-artists are Dr. Sisabo Lamini and Professor Isan Sakasferos. We are presenting on design documentation quality influential variables in the construction sector. Basically, we're going to look at the background. We'll have a look at the problem statement for this particular study. We'll look at the aim that called for this research. We'll look at the specific objectives that were set for this particular work. We'll look at the scope. We'll look at the methodology. We'll have a discussion on results and how they were discussed. We'll conclude, and finally will be the recommendation. Yes, the construction industry is a significant sector of the economy of nations across the world. It is significant such that it contributes about 10% to gross domestic product and employs about 10% of the working population in countries across the world. It is also significant such that it contributes to national socio-economic development by specifically providing physical infrastructure that is a necessity for countries across the world and their survival on the globe. And for the matter, there is a significant need for us to consider various factors that has a tendency of influencing inefficiency and efficiency in the construction industry. Yes, the efficiency of a construction project is underpinned by the quality of design documentation that is produced for a particular project. And design documentation serves as the yardstick or the basis for which a particular project is actually executed. And for that matter, the accuracy and clarity of the documentation that is provided for a particular project is of significant interest in the industry. While design documentation needs to be of good quality, or in other words, whilst design documentation needs to be precise, whilst it needs to be comprehensive and unambiguous, the reality in the industry is that design documentation practically contains information that are conflicting and information that are incomplete. Then if we try to look at quality from the context of this particular study, yes, quality can be defined as the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills certain requirement. And if we also try to look at the kind of documentation that we're looking at in this particular study, yes, design drawings, both architectural, engineering services drawings, specifications that are produced bills of quantities in various fields, conditions of contracts, forms of tender and forms of contracts, and some other technical field notes or requirements or specifications that are posted up. So basically, design documentation in the context of this particular research includes all documentations that are required for the effective and proper execution of a particular project. Yes, globally, researchers and practitioners have indicated vehemently, continuously in various researches, that the quality of design documentation is poor and it has bedeviled with unclear, with information that are inconsistent, with information that are inadequate. And for that matter, there is the need for the industry to take a second look at various rudiments that influences the quality of design documentation. Yes, poor design documentation quality comes with certain characteristics, and it has been indicated in literature that there are always conflicting and inaccurate information associated with poor design documentation quality. Poor design documentation comes with details that are insufficient for a particular project. It comes with documentation that are poor, and also specifications that are not amended. In most cases, professionals just copy and paste certain specifications for previous projects without taking the time to amend them to match up specifically with what the new project actually seeks to achieve. And there are also discrepancies between bills of quantities, discrepancies between bills of quantities and drawings, and also discrepancies between bills of quantities, drawings, and specifications. These are some of the basic characteristics that comes up with poor design documentation quality, which is a major call of concern in the industry. But poor design documentation quality has been indicated in literature to have certain consequences on various projects. And some of these consequences includes delays of projects. It also results in poor quality of various projects, and it results in rise in cost or upstages in cost of projects, projects of ending with the intended cost, or denying projects of ending within specified and speculated cost. But it also results in claims and disputes in litigations, which always drags the entire duration of the project. Over the years, there has been certain strategies proposed by researchers and practitioners in the industry as a way of improving on the quality of design documentation. Some have proposed the use of computer programs such as building information modeling, which is BIM. Some have also proposed the use of design checklists to cross-check the design and e-documentation. Some have also proposed the use or the establishment of quality control department that will go ahead to control the quality of whatever documentation that comes out. And recently, some researchers have also proposed the development of an instrument that will be used to evaluate the quality of design documentation before they are given out for a particular project. But other strategies that have been identified in literature includes increasing design fees to various consultants, and also ensuring that there's proper and effective coordination during the design documentation process by various professionals that are involved, and also holding professionals or design consultants accountable for whatever error or whatever mistake that is actually as a result of their working. And having a look at all these scenarios, there is therefore the need for an improvement in design documentation quality in the industry, so as to be able to improve or enhance the efficiency of construction projects in the industry. So problem statement for this particular research is that yes, there exist numerous studies on design documentation quality, but a whole lot of studies exist with a lot of them calling for improvement in the quality. However, it will be quite difficult to improve the quality without specifically identifying the various influential variables that are highly impacting on the quality of design documentation. And for that matter, the aim of this particular study was to evaluate design documentation quality influential variables and try to rank them on the basis of their significance in the industry and how they affect construction productivity and efficiency. The specific objectives for this particular study were in two main folds. The first objective was to identify variables in literature that is design documentation quality, And the second one was to evaluate each variable to determine their level of significance towards influencing design documentation quality. Yes, the scope of this particular study is the building and construction industry, specifically in Ghana. So this study was conducted in the Ghanaian construction industry, and it was conducted on professionals such as site supervisors or foremen, engineers across the industry, quantity surveyors, were professionals, architects, project managers, and managing directors. And all these people are key players in the construction industry in the Ghanaian construction sector. Regards the research design and methodology, which is very key and which is the heart of every study or every research, the philosophical basis for this particular research was positivism, kind of trying to unpeel the onion, and the approach was purely deductive because there are a lot of information on that. The methodological choice was purely quantitative, and the strategy that was adopted was the use of a survey questionnaire to be able to collect data information from reliable respondents. The time horizon was cross-sectional, and when it comes to technical procedures that were used in terms of data analysis and data collection, yes, it is in this table. So the two objectives that were the driving force for this particular research comes with their corresponding research methods and strategies. So the first one that has to do with identifying variables that influences design documentation quality was conducted and achieved through a systematic literature review using meta-synthesis, which was purely a qualitative data analysis to be able to pull out all the variables that are required and that exist within literature that affects the quality of design documentation. And after that, there was a questionnaire survey that was given out to respective respondents, and the outcome was actually analyzed, and the ranking was based on the mean score and standard deviation of each and every variable. Yes, in terms of validity and reliability of the instrument, a pilot study was conducted so as to be able to determine the reliability of the instrument. And in terms of ethics, yes, respondents' privacy, their anonymity, their confidentiality was duly assured and maintained throughout the study. And in fact, names were not collected, and specific personal information, details about the respondents were not collected. And for that matter, ethics was highly held in this particular research. And the sample size was 229 with 112 respondents, representing about 49% response rate. And the sampling procedure or technique was which targeted professionals in the industry, and it was followed by snowballing to reach out to subsequent or other professionals in the industry so as to collect data that is relevant, data that is important for the particular research. And the basis for the choice of the purposive sampling is to be able to untap or to be able to bear the experience of the professionals in the industry so as to be able to collect data that is credible, data that is full of rigor, well-tested and well-proven, to be able to bring to bear the aim of this particular research. Yes, in terms of results and discussions, there were 139 variables that were actually put out during the meta-synthesis, and 139 variables extracted and categorized or put into various categories. And the three major categories has to do with quality attributes of design documentation, which accounted for 19 variables, quality factors or variables, which also accounted for 109 factors. And then we also have various indicators for measuring or for assessing design documentation quality, and that was 11 in all. So the assessment of the variables in the questionnaire was actually based on a 5-point like a scale of importance, and respondents were asked to respond on a scale of 1 to 5, where not important was rated as 1 and highly important was rated as 5. And in fact, the results were actually brought out using the mean score and standard deviation of each and every variable. In terms of design documentation quality attributes, there were 19 variables in this particular regard, and design documentation is fit for purpose was ranked the highest among all the variables in this particular category, having a mean of 4.52 with a standard deviation of 0.849. Completeness of design documentation followed suit. Relevance of design documentation, accuracy of the documentation, in fact, the clarity and how easily communicated and constructed the design documentations are were some of the factors that rank particular contest. Others has to do with final checking of design documentation, scoring about 4.25, and coordination of design documentation also had a mean of 4.21, which is an indication that yes, with design documentation being fit for purpose as the very first variable in this particular regard, there is also a need for coordination of design documentation to be able to ensure the quality. Then with regard to assessment indicators or indicators for assessing the quality of design documentation, yes, it came out clear from the study that the number of revisions that are made to working drawings determines the quality of the documentation. The number of requests for information on RFI also determines the quality of the documentation. The value of real work that needs to be done or carried out also ranked high among the factors that determines or that indicates the quality of the documentation. The number of field technical queries that comes up, the number of variation orders that also comes out, but are some of the highly ranked factors in this particular category. And in all the 11 variables, 5 of them ranked 4.0 to 4.16, indicating high significance in this particular category. So it means, therefore, that yes, if we really want to determine the quality of design documentation in the construction industry, we should be looking at the number of revisions to drawings, we should be looking at the number of requests for information, the value of rework that comes up, the number of technical queries that comes on board, and also the number of variation orders that comes along with it. Yes, in terms of design documentation quality influential factors, which was 109 factors or variables in all, put in 5 major groups or categories. The first group is design documentation related factors, which scored first in that particular group. The second group is design related factors. The third category which came up as a third category is collaboration related factors. The fourth is the owner related factors, and the fifth is external related factors. So it means, therefore, in this case, that yes, design-related factors accounts for the highest group when it comes to determination of the quality of design documentation. And also designers or consultant-related factors also influences design documentation to a high extent. When it comes to collaboration among designers, collaboration among the professionals throughout the designing and the documentation stage, it came up as a third in this particular category, also indicating that yes, it has a significant influence on the quality of design documentation. The owner also has an influence, that's as the external related factors. So in conclusion, yes, there are various projects that starts and completes without any significant design documentation challenges. Nevertheless, there are numerous projects also that experiences very enormous and significant challenges in terms of design documentation in the industry. And however, from the study, it came out clear that design documentation related factors was ranked the first in this particular category, which is an indication that yes, the quality of design documentation is related to the various factors identified that's related to the design documentation, followed by designers or consultants factors, followed by collaboration related factors, owner related factors, and external related factors. So in direction for future research, yes, it is recommended that further research be conducted so as to build on the current study by considering a case study to be able to unearth the integrities of the situation as it is in the industry across the globe. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention, and God bless you all.
Thank you for an excellent presentation. Was that Peter? Peter?
Yes, this is Peter.
We have a few minutes if you want to log any questions on the chat. But when I say a few minutes, I mean a few minutes, because we were a little bit behind time, but Peter caught us up. Okay, Theo, are there any questions on the chat? Okay, Professor, just check. There are no questions on the chat. So thank you very much, Peter, and your colleagues at
Thank
WITS.
you.
And we do appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you so much. Extend our regards. Bye.
Okay, while Peter is closing his PowerPoint, thank you. Okay, what the heck's happening? We have unemployment of graduates in the built environment. Adilei Brangwata and Melissa Fika. Adilei, if you're going to do the presentation, then please be so kind as to pronounce your surname, because I hate messing up people's surnames. It is a serious business. Okay, so if you are ready to proceed, you may proceed. Please remember to make it a slideshow. So
you know where to find me.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm trying to.
Who is doing the presentation?
My name is Adele Adeniran.
Okay, welcome. Please make a slideshow, and that you don't have the slides on the left-hand side, but you use the whole page for your slideshow. You may go ahead. The name of his presentation: unemployment of graduates in the built environment. Something that none of us want to hear anything about. But please tell us what's happening.
Yeah. Good afternoon, colleagues. Presenting the financial unemployment of graduates. It's one of the research of one of the honors at the Nelson Mandela University. So I'm presenting on behalf of which I co-supervise. So I'm presenting on behalf of the main supervisor as well as myself, the co-supervisor. That's the overview of the presentation. Now, the global economic recession, not only in Africa but all over the world, has taken so many graduates, not only in the built environment but in all processes, turned out, and this is critical to this aspect. Also, in addition, government policies as a result of the of most countries where everyone is expected to have a right to basic education, came to get more people into school. Also, the policy focus now is that when people get into school, they must be trained to be entrepreneurs. Out of school, they're able to create for themselves because of the competition that comes with job securing in large firms in the labor market. Many people want to fit into this, and they want to for the workplace. And that's why most students are at the universities now want to go for professional courses, which advantage to them when they are seeking. So, among other factors, the unemployed tend to demonstrate while they come to the university, they got the certification, but when they demonstrate inadequate and inappropriate skills, I feel from a mismatch between the graduates, this business requirements as well as the soft skills, and it's something that is very way all over because there's a mismatch between what is not and what actually gets to happen in the field. That essay says that unemployment rate is one of the highest in the world, and it's consistently from that essay.
Excuse excuse me for butting in. You have a very bad internet connection. Maybe you should just give us a few minutes to digest the slide and then carry on to the next slide, because we really cannot hear what you're saying. So give us a couple of minutes to digest the slide, and then you can carry on with the next slide. Unfortunately, we can't hear what you're saying. But now we can hear what you're saying. Now we hear you perfectly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I'm in one of the rural areas in the Eastern Cape. So, Start SA says that, of course, the unemployment rate in South Africa keeps consistently being measured above 29%. And also the CIDB has acceded that the country has an abundance of low and unskilled labor, and the unemployment is high amongst the youth without experience, which is like a confirmation of what the Stats SA has said. Hence, this research focuses on the unemployment of graduates in the built environment and wants to look at, okay, what are the reasons why they're not getting employment, and how can they, or what can be done to make sure that they are able to secure jobs. And also this paper seeks to add to the body of knowledge. Of course, the aim is to identify factors for employability and work readiness of built environment graduates for the industries, and these are the objectives. Yeah, the research employed quantitative method, and the data was gathered utilizing questionnaires administered to built environment graduates from the Nelson Mandela University, so that our research was limited to those. The collected data was interpreted in percentages and mean scores and presented in tables. And of course, the questionnaire was administered using Google Forms. And of course, again, it was specifically for those built environment graduates who were registered for honors in the 2019 session. Of course, 25 responses were received from the 40 questions that were sent out. Like I said, the study is limited to unemployment of built environment graduates, and the focus was on the Nelson Mandela University built environment graduates. Now, the findings of all the 25 that came back, you would see that from the table 1, there's a mean score of 4.24 of all the respondents saying that they were finding difficulty in securing appointment. Of course, this is very significant. I mean, it's very high at 4.24, with all of them saying, or majority of them saying, that it was difficult for them to find jobs. And we further went to ask, okay, how or where do you seek for jobs? Most of them actually got the job advertisement for social media platforms, such as the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and then company website. Of course, you know, the LinkedIn is the professional website where people are supposed to gather. It's more like the social platform for professionals. And of course, it had the highest mean score as a platform for job advertisement. So it meant that the university graduates from the Nelson Mandela University focuses more on the LinkedIn social platform to look for job advertisement, relevant job advertisement. And then they were also asked what factors they think were important during job interview, and the factors which were listed were body languages, appropriate dressing, confidence, appropriate language, being attentive, being punctual, conveying soft skills. And of course, all of these were ranked based on their responses, and confidence was ranked the highest, followed by being punctual. And of course, the one that had the least ranking was the conveying of soft skills, as said by the student, I mean by the respondent. Then another finding, okay, the respondents were also asked what factors they think lead to difficulty in securing employment, because they had earlier said that, well, they were finding it very difficult to secure employment. And the factors listed were outdated resume, companies are over selective, applying for wrong jobs, poor interview skills, no real world experience, among others. And when all these were ranked based on their responses, we are ranking the first no real world experience, which came with a mean score of 3.96. And of course, the one that ranked the lowest was applying for wrong jobs with a mean score of 2.0. So most of them at least know which jobs, they actually know what jobs they are looking for, and they apply for the appropriate jobs. All the other factors are actually as presented in the table. Also, we asked them questions about do they have an effective curriculum, and that fell on the average, because most of them do not actually know whether the curriculum they are sending in is effective, or it's appropriate, or it's not appropriate. So it meant that the students actually need to be schooled in the act of putting up their curriculum. And then we further asked on factors which I think can improve so in terms of curriculum, I'm talking about the educational curriculum. Sorry, not the CVs. There's actually a question we asked about the CVs, which are mixed up now. It's in terms of the curriculum, about what they are being taught in the school. And of course, the response came up in the average. And they were asked what do they think can be done to improve the current curriculum, which they are being fed with from the university. And we had factors such as offering work-based learning, skills-focused learning, industry-orientated curriculum, in-service training for a year, encouraging digital literacy, use of new and emerging technology, industry collaborating with higher institution or higher educational institutions. And of course, when these were also ranked, with the mean score of 4.36, there were two factors that came very high, the mean score of 4.36, which is industry-orientated curriculum and industry collaboration, which means that these factors are actually very significant and very important, and it has to, they have the notion that it has to be built into the curriculum so that when they get into the field, they're able to fit in properly. And the one with the lowest mean score is encouraging digital literacy, because as at the moment, digital literacy is part of what they are getting on the table. And they were also further asked about what they felt their notion on importance of entrepreneurial education. And they all, that came back with a mean score of 4.44, which is actually also very significant, which means the respondents feel, have a notion that, or all agree that entrepreneurial education is important for their employability. Then we also further asked about the importance of skills for employment, adaptability of skills, creativity, problem solving, and all of those other factors. And they were also ranked. And coming tops with the first ranking is problem solving, which they denoted as a skill that is very important for them to be able to get employment. And next to that is leadership. They realized that they needed to have a qualities in terms of leadership skills. And the if you look at all the mean scores, you see that they're actually very high, which indicates that all of these factors are actually important for skills. I mean, important skills for employment. The one with the lowest mean score came with a 4.20, which is a dependability. So all those factors are actually very important if they are going to get employment, as accented to by the respondents. Now, concluding, given the significance of employment in the nation's development, it can be concluded that it's no longer a case of churning out graduates, but rather readily employable graduates. Given that the perception of the respondents on the importance of entrepreneurial education is rated at a mean score of 4.4, and the importance of soft skills as a mean score of greater or equal to 4.20, less or equal to 4.64, it can be concluded that the employability is a function of these factors and beyond academic certification,
These findings reinforce that employability of an individual depends upon assets in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and it goes just beyond certification. This study hence recommends that improving the skills of graduates and offering proper training could benefit them with skills that are only learned through experience. Also, mentorship will be a way to help graduates get knowledge from well-experienced people in their chosen fields, and universities should encourage this while emphasizing the importance of skills and experience in graduates by incorporating them in the study curriculum. Furthermore, the construction industry should create further opportunities that would equip students with skills while they're studying, as this will give them a better chance at securing employment as well as charting a career path. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Next time, it would be preferable that you would actually rank from 1 to 10 or from 1 to 6 and not the rankings jumble up. It would be easier to read your rankings.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
But thank you for the presentation. It's an important factor in education today, because we all know about the famous bums on seats, and all the deans and the DVCs ones are bums on seats. And whether the bums actually turn out to employable graduates, nobody really cares. But thank you for a very important presentation. And with that, folks, I like to say this, and I'm always told I mustn't. With that, folks, that's it. That's all she wrote. Thank you, and goodbye.
Very good.
You know, you now will do anything for you. And that's including doing anything for you.